beneath a silent moon. The Bermuda Triangle, a place of mystery, a place of fear. Tonight, the moon hides its face. No stars dare to gleam. The ocean stretches out like a dark mirror. It reflects nothing. The air hangs heavy and still. It is the stillness before a storm. But this is no ordinary storm. This is the Bermuda Triangle. Here, storms brew with a life of their own. Here, the sea whispers secrets it has kept for centuries.
Captain Ben Carter gripped the helm of his ship, the wood worn smooth by years of use. His knuckles were white, his grip tight, as if he could steady the unease that had settled deep within him. He had sailed these waters for 30 years, navigating through countless storms and treacherous waves. He knew every current, every hidden reef, and every whisper of the wind. He had seen storms that could swallow a man whole, waves that towered like mountains, and winds that howled like banshees. He had faced nature's fury and lived to tell the tale. But tonight felt different. The air itself seemed to hum with an unnatural energy. The sky was clear, yet there was a sense of foreboding that he couldn't shake off. It was a low, constant vibration. He felt it in his bones, a deep, unsettling tremor that seemed to resonate with the very core of his being. It was as if the sea itself was trying to communicate with him. He looked to his crew. Their faces were etched with worry, their eyes darting nervously around the deck. They too felt the strange vibration, the eerie stillness of the night. Even the old salts hardened by years at sea seemed uneasy. These were men who had faced the worst the ocean could throw at them, yet tonight they were alone. The sea was calm, too calm. It was as if the ocean itself was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. The stillness was unnerving, a stark contrast to the usual rhythm of the waves. Captain Carter raised his binoculars, scanning the horizon for any sign of danger. The vast expanse of water stretched out before him, dark and silent. There was nothing, no ships, no land, just the endless, empty sea. The crew whispered among themselves, their voices hushed and filled with fear. They trusted their captain, but the unknown was a powerful enemy, one that could not be fought with strength or skill. Captain Carter tightened his grip on the helm, his resolve hardening. He had faced the unknown before and had always come out on top. He would not let fear take hold of him or his crew. As the ship sailed into the night, the captain and his crew braced themselves for whatever lay ahead. The sea was a fickle mistress, and tonight she was shrouded in mystery. But Captain Carter was ready. He always was.
A strange mist began to rise from the water, creeping slowly and steadily, as if it had a life of its own. It was an ethereal sight, almost mesmerizing in its silent ascent. It swirled around the ship, wrapping it in a shroud of mystery. The fog clung to the deck like ghostly fingers, reaching out and grasping at the wood, as if trying to pull the vessel into another realm. The men huddled together, their faces pale in the eerie glow. Fear was etched into their expressions, their eyes wide with dread. They whispered among themselves, their voices trembling as they spoke of legends and curses.
A chill wind whipped through the rigging, making the sails flap like the wings of a giant, unseen bird. The sound was haunting, a reminder of the unseen forces at play. It carried whispers and moans, voices from a forgotten realm. The sounds seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, echoing through the mist and sending shivers down the spines of the crew.
The compass spun wildly, its needle dancing a jig of madness. It was as if the very fabric of reality was being twisted and turned, leaving the crew without direction or hope.
The radio crackled with static, then fell silent. The silence was deafening, a stark contrast to the chaos around them. It was as if the world had been muted, leaving them in a void of sound. The ship was alone, cut off from the world. There were no other vessels in sight, no signs of life or civilization. They were adrift in an endless expanse of water, with no way to call for help. They were adrift in a sea of silence, more terrifying than any storm. The stillness was oppressive, a heavy weight that pressed down on them, making it hard to breathe. The ocean was a mirror, reflecting the stars above, but offering no comfort or solace. The crew knew they were in the grip of something beyond their understanding, something ancient and powerful. They could only wait and hope, praying that the dawn would bring an end to the nightmare.
Panic began to grip the crew. The once calm and orderly deck was now a scene of chaos. Crew members dashed from one end to the other, their faces etched with fear and confusion. Orders were shouted, but they were lost in the cacophony of the moment. The ship, which had been their home and sanctuary, now felt like a prison. The mist seemed to crawl, to have a life of its own. It slithered over the deck, wrapping itself around the ship like a cold, damp blanket. It was as if the mist was searching for something, or someone. The crew could feel its icy fingers on their skin, sending shivers down their spines.
Lights flickered and died. The ship was plunged into darkness, the only light coming from the eerie glow of the mist. The crew's eyes darted around, trying to pierce the darkness, but it was impenetrable. The ship's interior, once familiar and comforting, now felt alien and threatening. The engine sputtered, coughed, then roared back to life with a deafening boom. The sudden noise was jarring, breaking the oppressive silence that had settled over the ship. The crew jumped at the sound, their nerves already frayed. The engine's roar was a reminder of the ship's power, but also of its vulnerability.
The needle on the depth sounder swung back and forth. It was as if the ocean itself was in turmoil, its depths shifting and changing. The crew watched in disbelief as the needle moved erratically, unable to make sense of the readings. It showed depths that were impossible, depths that should not exist. The numbers on the gauge were nonsensical, defying all logic and reason. The crew exchanged worried glances, their fear growing with each passing second. What was happening to their ship? What was happening to the ocean?
Then, as quickly as it started, the chaos stopped. The engine purred. The sudden calm was almost as unsettling as the chaos had been. The crew stood in stunned silence, unsure of what to do next. The engine's steady hum was a stark contrast to the madness that had just unfolded. The lights flickered back on, but the mist remained. It clung to the ship, a constant reminder of the strange events that had just occurred. The crew's relief was short-lived, their fear still palpable. The mist was a silent, ghostly presence, watching and waiting. It swirled around the ship, a ghostly shroud in the darkness. The ocean, usually a source of comfort and familiarity, now felt like an alien world. The mist obscured their view, making it impossible to see what lay ahead. The crew felt isolated, cut off from the rest of the world. The fear was a living thing now, gripping the hearts of all on board. It was a tangible presence, feeding off their anxiety and uncertainty. The crew's faces were pale, their eyes wide with terror. They knew they were not alone on the ship, but they didn't know what was with them. The unknown was the most terrifying thing of all.
A sailor screamed.
He pointed to a shape in the mist.
A face.
It shimmered for a moment, pale and gaunt, then vanished.
More faces appeared, some mournful, some angry.
They swirled around the ship, their silent screams echoing in the men's minds.
Captain Carter felt a cold dread grip his heart.
These were not the faces of the living.
They were the lost souls of the Bermuda Triangle.
They were here for them all. The next morning, the sun rose on a calm sea. The drifted aimlessly, her sails slack. On board, there was no sign of life. The ship was completely deserted. No trace of the crew was ever found. There became another ghost story, another whisper in the wind. The mystery deepened when authorities boarded the... Everything was in order. The ship was shipshape. The only clue to the crew's fate lay in the captain's log. The final entry in the log was chilling. Captain Carter's handwriting was shaky, frantic. It spoke of the mist, the whispers, the faces in the night. He wrote of fear, of madness, of things that defied explanation. The last line sent shivers down the spines of those who read it. They are here. They are calling us. We cannot escape. There was just one of many ships claimed by the Bermuda Triangle. Planes have vanished into thin air. Entire crews have disappeared without a trace. The legends grow with each passing year. Some say it's magnetic anomalies. Some whisper of underwater methane eruptions. But the truth remains elusive. The Bermuda Triangle holds its secrets close. It is a place where reality blurs, where the natural and the supernatural collide. The ocean is a vast and unforgiving place. It hides its secrets well. The Bermuda Triangle is a stark reminder of this. The stories linger. They whisper on the wind. They chill us to the bone. Are the stories true? Are there forces at work beyond our understanding? The answer remains elusive, lost in the depths of the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle remains a place of legend and mystery. It is a reminder that there are still wonders in this world that we cannot explain. It is a place where the veil between our world and the unknown is thin. Perhaps it is best to heed the warnings. Perhaps it is best to avoid this place of whispers and shadows. The Bermuda Triangle is a haunting reminder that some mysteries are best left unsolved.